Welcome back. Can you hear the baby rooks that are nesting in the eaves? I certainly can, all day and night. Yeah, long time no see. Been prioritising doing work in and on the house. Just thought I'd bring you guys back and show you the progress that 10 months or thereabouts has made. An early summer tour. This is just what's at home. The allotment I had last year that I did the series on, unfortunately I had to hand back because they are building houses on that site now. They've decided to build social housing there. I have got a site on another, say localish. It's about 8 miles away, but for the rurality I live in, that's quite close. I've been working quite hard on that, and I will bring you back maybe next week with that. I've got some footage and some bits to splice in of when I took it on, which was about two and a half months ago, to show you the difference. I need to finish doing some work. I built a lot of raised beds, so it's coming along, but I'll do that separately. But at home, lots has changed. This is all pallets that I've taken apart. This is largely going to be the cladding for the IBC raised wicking beds once they're all in final position. You see the lean on that wall? Yeah, that's been there since the day we moved in, so we're in the process of dismantling to rebuild that. So that's kind of a job I'm doing a bit at a time as and when I get the inclination. This section down here, it's half concreted under there. This is where the pergola for the hot tub's going to go, the inflatable hot tub. At the moment, however, it's got these sheets on. These sheets are from where I re-roofed the extension. So it's got metal sheet there, 6.5 meters long, single piece. That is asbestos impregnated concrete roofing slates. So they're relatively safe, so there's not really, unless you're grinding them up and inhaling them, it's safe from asbestosis, but it's extremely expensive to dispose of. Our local council will allow 3 black bags a year. And I've got rather more than that, so at the moment I'm saving up to get rid of that. It's about £600 to get rid of that little lot. So yeah, that's an expense and a half, so that's why that's there. And we're not really in urgent need of the pergola for the hot tub now, but eventually, over next winter, that's what that will become. Patio has changed dramatically, so you've got an extended slab there. You'll see that around there was that bed full of raised bed full of made of stone with brambles and things and trees growing through it, and beyond it was just a field of crocosmia. That's become an extended patio. These slabs will eventually be taken up and concreted over so it's level, but for now I've just taken up the 3 segments that well, effectively I've got the original garden layouts, and they were for succulents in the middle of the patio. I don't understand why, but suffice to say they are now gone. Yeah, I never quite understood that. So it's a decent size now for a functional space for, you see, some patio furniture. Lots of work still in progress. These bricks, believe it or not, were here underneath this segment here, with turf laid on top of them. So when I started to take this out to put the slab down, pour the slab, I discovered those, and yeah, they're good bricks. So the plan is that essentially this section here, once it's been rebuilt, will have a raised flower bed all the way along it. It will also come out here, and then there'll be an arch here to about this section here. So these steps will narrow quite dramatically, and then this here will be bricked up and effectively make another raised bed. That will obviously go another level higher. And be all dug out, so effectively one big raised bed all the way through here, archway over the top, and a gate. There'll be another gate down here to keep our little dog in, that part of the garden, so they can go and have some fun. Unfortunately, this is part of the planning permission, so turning circle for cars. we cannot do anything with it. It's part of the planning permission. It's a requirement to retain it. But yeah, so raised bed there, raised bed along there. We've started to get the rest of the sort of framework in process. So this is, you know, I think about there was where we stopped last year. So these three are now in. These two have got bits in. I'll talk about that when I come to it. But I was short of sand. Normally I buy it by the ton, and I will be buying more sand by the ton, but I just needed something to help me fill this last one. So what I'll do is I'll put, you can see kind of how I do it. I put a bucket in the middle, rock around the outside to create the reservoir, then I'll put some permeable membrane in between just to separate it, and then sand in the middle to create a wick up to a little bit above where the membrane will be there, and then it's compost from there on up with a hole inside. That creates your wicking bed. Yeah, so we've got the paths down. They've been laid out. I've got some edging to go in there. We've got this side's bed, so this is going to be in sort of a mirror image of the one that's going over there. All made from scrap off-cut lumber from somebody in the roofing trade. All tannalised and lined with membrane. Got a variety of things in there. You've got cosmos, some nasturtiums, some sunflowers. You'll see the other bits and pieces I've got to go in them in the greenhouse when I take you down through the greenhouse. Chickens are still over here in their temporary pen, but again I've laid out the pathway down there. I've got to get some more gravel because I ran out. I've started the process of cutting that back. I've still got that last little wall and that tree stump to dig out, and then the concrete is going to be extended all the way up there, all the way along there. There'll be we've got some finches, some fancy finches, so there'll be a little bird aviary there. Eventually the plan is to completely knock that down, slab all the way across, have a much higher apex housing and a full height run so I can walk in and out easily. This was only ever temporary, just to hold them while we did the rest of the garden. It's taken far longer than anticipated. Beautiful Acer that's going to Liz is sat there. This section here will be our lawn. At the moment we've got a great big burn pile in the middle with lots of comfrey, so I dug up, that was growing in one of these beds in the middle of the patio, so I dug those up, and yeah, tiny little fragments is all it's taken, so they'll be dug out and gifted away, but essentially that's the burn pile for various timbers. That'll all get burned down to ash, and then the last of the compost from last of the soil from over here, and there's another section around the back which I'll show you in a minute, will be going in there. It will all be completely rotivated and levelled, and then it'll be reseeded. Once we're at that point, we'll actually have a lawn. Okay, so let's start from the front and work our way back. So this one is going to be courgettes. I'll show you those in the greenhouse in a minute. That is my butternuts. That's Barbara, which is very similar to a standard butternut, except that they remain green even when they're harvested, when they're ripe. But they're very prolific. The aim is to really, for this season, because I'm not going to get these raised beds done and upright with plants in them before the end of the year, to run it up and over there as spare space. These are my blue hubbards, which I use predominantly for pumpkin pie. They will go up and down the little walkway behind there. There's a concrete walkway down there that you can't see. Then we've got some bits and pieces growing in between. So once I've clad it, there'll be timbers that will pinch these sides together, and then one on top, so that should prevent those growing through, as well as along all the sides. But that's onions in that bed, along with an apple tree. I don't think it'll fruit this year. I've only had it 2 years, and it did not like being kept in a bucket until late last year. Multi-sown beetroot and multi-sown leeks, doing quite well. In this one we've got red currants and white currants and garlic, which is starting to get some rust, but doing okay. In this one we have my green gage tree that I took from my previous family home, and a gooseberry plant, along with some more garlic and a few onions on that side. My raspberry bed, wow, I planted 8 canes less than 12 months ago. They came up, they fruited a tiny bit last year, autumn fruiting of course, and went back down, and this is it after a year. They seem quite happy. My little tiller that I'll be using to rotivate this ground. Onions again, these are all white onions, mostly from sets. That's a cherry, again, no fruit on it. Strawberry wall behind, lots and lots of strawberries coming on that. They're an Everbearer variety. Then we've got onions and another apple, and then celeriac, which we're quite fond of. This one, not quite sure what we're going to put in it yet. I'll find something, I usually do. This is our sort of composting area. At the moment I've stolen it for the early potatoes because they were in the greenhouse and were not liking it. You can see they've gone a bit spindly because they were left in there a little too long, but they'll pick back up again outside. I've got several more of these, so you know that will end up being probably 4 or 6 composters because we do a lot. Then this section is all new. I've got some more IBCs coming which will then finish the row that way and go out that way. Once that tree is lifted in November, December time, this will effectively mirror that side, which is 3 out, 1 along, 3 out, 1 along, 3 out, 1 along, and so effectively this will become a mirror image. Sweet corn's in. This bed here is, you see I'm quite thrifty, I'll use anything. So I've got all these old securing bars from the IBCs, and they make perfect supports. That will be for the climbing borlottis, which I'm going to give another week in the polytunnel before in the greenhouse before I bring them out. And these are my runner beans, my white runners. I only planted these out yesterday, but they've gotten enormous, as you can see, having just been planted. I've probably got flowers coming on them not too soon. Behind there we've got main crop potatoes just in buckets, that's some of them. This little section here are some bearded irises that I've saved out of the pond. They're going to be properly nurtured, so they'll be potted up and split up properly when I can find 5 minutes. And then this is the section. I think last year it came down to about there. Maybe that was the last one, or maybe that was the last one, I can't remember. But either way, we've got a lot more beds, and we'll probably have another 50% next year. So these are my Red Baron, grown from seed onions. Obviously nowhere near as far along as the white onions, because the white onions are from sets. These are my early peas. You'll see the ones in the greenhouse in a minute that are coming through. My spinach, I'm going to start, I need to have a good pick of that because we haven't got long left on it. Gooseberries, doing good guns. Rhubarb's been a bit hit and miss. It's enormous, then it dies back, enormous, then it dies back, so we'll have to see how they go. I think probably they need splitting up, if I'm honest, and rearranging in that bed. Another goose gog. This is my marathon broccoli, which is coming on great guns, probably 6 weeks to harvest on that. One of the beds of blight resistant tomatoes, which is all I grow, outdoors anyway here, because this is Wales and it rains. That's Crimson Crush, which are salad eating type. My dumping ground for all of the bags. I don't throw compost or sand or gravel kind of bags out. They all get kept because at the end of the year all the surplus compost goes into these and gets stacked up somewhere ready for using next year. No such thing as compost that's truly spent. This is, what is this? Cauliflowers, and I think you've got 1 red cabbage in there because I had a spare. But they're starting to come on. is the Crimson Blush. These are the beefsteak type ones. In here we've got, that's a purple sprouting. This was absolutely decimated by rats earlier in the year. Historically, I've not really had to deal with rats, but where we had the chickens, this spring has just been absolutely atrocious for them. To the point I've had to go to daily feeding, so rather than just put out a feeder, which is what I normally do, and let them help themselves, I've had to physically weigh out their feed. I've also did a big cull in one go, 3 different types of pet safe poison baits, and it basically wiped out the population, thankfully. Had to be pet safe because I have 3 cats, 2 of which are ratters. So I didn't want them eating anything and causing secondary poisoning. But it was very effective, very effective. In here we have got a variety of cabbages. We've got that's some red cabbage at the back. We've got some red cabbage in here and some green cabbage around it. Then we've got 2 types of dwarf beans. These are tender green. I grow these every year. My favourite, very reliable ones. That is a weed. God damn it. If you can hear that, we live in quite a tourist trap. As you can see, it's a rather pretty part of the world. And we have bikers that like to come and throw themselves up the twisty turny roads at high speed, so that's what that was. These are amethyst, which again I grow most years. These have been struggling a little bit. We've had a bit of slug damage. Now, I'm not a big believer in slug pellets. I do have some, but I don't know what's happened to that, because that's been completely nibbled off, but that should hopefully come back. And there's no point, because the iron phosphate pellets, which are the only ones I will use, disappear every time it rains, and this is Wales and it rains about 3 times an hour. This is the asparagus bed. A couple of old crowns from the old place that don't seem to have done a great deal, and lots of new ones, but very little has come up so far. Another one over there. Again, I'm not sure whether that's the slugs or not, but it is what it is. See, everything before I put it down goes up, the weed-proof sheet goes underneath it. This one thing I've discovered with this property is that because it has been neglected for so long, it was so heavily, densely planted to start with and then neglected, stuff comes up everywhere, and there's nothing you can do short of digging out the entire 1/3 of an acre, which I'm not going to do. I'm not dealing with that. This section last year was a big wooden balustrade fence there, which was just infested with weeds. Took that down and we discovered this is where the rats are living. You can see all the rat holes. Sadly without occupants now, and well, sadly for them, not so much for me. And it means that more light can actually get into the greenhouse that you couldn't see when I first moved in. I had no idea it existed, and it was full from front to back with golden hops. Still see a little bit of it there. I pull it out every time I see a bit. This section here has been completely cleared, including the ivy on the walls. These are my water buckets I discovered underneath it all. I've concreted this section, and the plan is to continue down there, strip the ivy off, dig out, that's an ash tree there, basically get rid of all of that and then pour a new concrete slab so that I can walk all the way around the outside. That's a self-seeded hawthorn in the corner, all not required. So in here, getting there, so there is spaces here for 4 blight resistant mountain magic because they're closest to the door. These are, I believe, Roma and Gardener's Delight. Cucumbers will go up here. These are some of the ones waiting to go down the allotment. They are, as you can tell, absolutely enormous, well overdue. But I've been focusing on getting here done instead of the allotment, so the plan is next week to focus on the allotment and get these guys out. That is a number of different types of rhubarb that I grew from seed, just because. In here we have the Atina polka, which is the courgettes. I only potted these up yesterday, so these ones at the back are looking a bit sad for themselves. Again, more blight resistant tomatoes waiting to go to the plot. Here's some dianthus, which I grew from seed this year. They'll go out once they're a little bit bigger than that. Well, I might pot them up once more, but pretty much that's it. And we've got the climbing borlottis waiting to go out. And like I said, I think another few days. I just want them to be slightly bigger before I put them out. Second batch of peas, they'll be going out probably next week as well. And here we've got some cucumbers. Ones in the smaller pots are jalapenos. It's just some spring onions, which I need to find a space for. The ones in the bigger pots are sweet peppers. They are a variety called Sweet Black Knight, I think. These are the Mountain Magics. They go into those pots. More cucumbers. And we've got a few violas at the back there that will need separating and splitting up, and some basil. So yeah, all in all, lots of change, lots of physical effort. Still got a long way to go. I've still got 2 more years worth of work to tame this garden and do all the hard work, landscaping, etc, etc. Trying to work it around a full-time job, 4 kids, and you know, all the internal works is challenging at times. But you know, it's getting there. It's getting there. Every day, every time I come out and do a little bit, it gets a little bit better. And I should have a decent harvest this year out of it. So anyway, it's been nice to see you. I will see you all on the next one, which will hopefully be in about a week, once I've been able to get down to the plot, the allotment site, and stitch together in the editing suite some of the footage showing what it was like when I got it and what it's like now and what I've got in there, etc, etc. That's quite exciting actually. It's my 7th allotment plot. Should be an expert at it by now. Right, so I'll see you on the next one.